This broadcast is brought to you by WNQS Stores. WNQS Stores, where every journey in Jamaica is crafted for comfort, adventure, and unforgettable experiences. Good evening, and welcome to Negril Times, your trusted source for stories that matter to Jamaica's capital of casual, where the sun kisses the sea and every sunset tells a story. Negril Times recently sat with Ramoy McFarlane, the newly appointed manager of Negril Footeprints Hotel, to discuss the current state and future of the resort town. Drawn on more than a decade of senior hospitality management experience, both locally and overseas, McFarlane shared a forward-looking vision for how to make Negril thrive year-round. The conversation explored the offerings at Negril Footprints, the resort town's infrastructure, accessibility, marketing, and visitor experiences, as well as McFarlane's ideas for collaboration among hotels, restaurants, and attractions to create seamless, memorable experiences for both Jamaicans and tourists alike. Throughout, he emerges as a strategic and visionary leader, offering practical solutions to enhance Negril's visibility, improve facilities, and increase occupancy, all while preserving the town's signature charm and natural beauty. Stay with us for the full conversation, where Ramoy McFarlane opens up about his insights, hopes, and fresh perspective for Negril as a top destination.
Negril, Negril.
My name is Ramoy McFarlane. I'm the hotel manager of Negril Footprints Hotel.
All right, so talk to me about Negril. We want to look at Negril as a tourism destination, which has really been sort of lulling when compared to places like Ocho Rios and to a lesser extent Montego. Your thoughts?
So I've been in Negril now since May, which is a little bit over 5 months, assisting with the opening of the property and getting us where we need to be. During that time period, I've been able to see quite a lot happening in Negril, visited other properties as well. One of the main things that stand out to me is, of course, the access to Negril. It takes way too long from Montego Bay, which is the leading airport destination in this region, to get here. That's mainly because of the infrastructure. Walking along the beach, I visited quite a few properties, and from the beach and from the road. And one of the things that stand out to me is a lack of, I don't want to use the word care, but I don't think they have been reinvesting back into the product. And I'm not sure why or the main reasoning behind that. One of the main things that I've also seen is based on the travelers that I speak to on a day to day basis, is most of them are travelers who have been visiting Negril for years. I hardly find new travelers into Negril, and I believe that could be, or one of the reasons that could be, is there has not been enough marketing behind Negril as a product. Yes, I've seen marketing of Ocho Rios. I've seen media persons going in and out of Montego Bay just the same, but I have not seen that same level of marketing or exposure happening to Negril. And yes, Negril is a beautiful destination. Yes, it has the 7 Mile Beach. That is a beach that has been on the Forbes. I'm not sure the exact location, but it's a world renowned beach. And that's something that I think is worth coming to visit. And not a lot of persons, I don't believe this is something that has been continuously marketed as the other destinations in Jamaica has been marketed.
You spoke of the aesthetics of Negril, even down in the square and so forth. I want you to expand a bit on that and make that comparison with places like Ocho Rios, which is grand.
Yes, so I actually am originally from Ocho Rios. So I've seen the development of Ocho Rios over the years, and Negril is nowhere close to where Ocho Rios is right now. And Ocho Rios is what, 90 minutes from the airport, the same distance. However, the traverse from Montego Bay to Ocho Rios is much smoother. The infrastructure is there. I don't see that for Negril. And the same thing applies to the town of Ocho Rios in comparison to the town of Negril. If I was a new tourist just coming into Ocho Rios and I have to look at it from that perspective, going into the town of Negril, I would not be happy with what I see. Even the square itself, we had some conversation with the other business owners. Just recently, they started to do some work in the square, and it was just stopped right in the middle, and it wasn't continued, and that's just the roundabout. And I have not even started to speak about the roadways leading even to Savannah South, or even going back onto the West End. There's so much more that can be done to the infrastructure to make Negril actually look like a tourist destination. There are a lot of towns that aren't tourist destinations that look much better than Negril.
In your experience overseas, you spoke of, marketing and collaboration with different travel agents and so on. Um, Speak about that. Explain a bit more on that.
One of the things is, and I met with Marsha Roberts and also some JTB personnel and Angela Bennett from Canada. And some of the things that we spoke about and that they are actually trying to do is make these smaller properties aware of the different connectivity partners. Because what happens is, as a small property, larger tour operators can't sell you unless you have a connectivity partner. What this connectivity partner or platform does is route your rates and availability. It's not like once where you're able to email somebody your rate sheet and your availability. We are in the place of technology now, and with that, you need to be connected to a connectivity partner. And there's a possibility that some of these smaller properties are not connected to those connectivity partners. And that could also be because of the pricing for these connectivity partners, because they are a little bit pricey. It's an additional overhead. And being in a destination like Negril that I have to say at some point has only been marketed as a location where you come to visit for Dream Weekend. Only when there's this one big party happening, that's when people will come to Negril. What about the rest of the year? And yes, Dream Weekend usually happens in the peak of summer. What about the slow time period? How then can we upkeep Negril if it's only 1 month out of the year or a week out of the year when we have support from the larger players in the industry?
What would it be your suggestion? Because the Jamaica Tourist Board is responsible for marketing Jamaica and all the tourist destinations here. What would be your suggestion to them as it relates to Negril and marketing Negril?
Well, of course, these are conversations that are ongoing. One of the biggest things I'd say, and I recently actually met with Marsha Roberts along with some other stakeholders of Negril, and one of the things that we're looking at doing, and of course, the more support we have, the better, is to creating a collaboration per se with the smaller properties where we can share occupancy, which we can have time periods when we have events that benefit each one of us individually, and not just the hotels, even the restaurants, even the bars, even the venues that are here in Negril could benefit from that if we're able to collaborate and share a space where we can be marketed not just individually but as a.
You spoke of the beauty of Negril and not another destination, but a place where everybody feels so much at peace and so on. Your thoughts on Negril's beauty?
I've visited quite a few countries, and of course, I'm from Ochi myself. I've stayed in Negril, I've been to Portland, and there's a different feel that you get when you're in Negril. The 7 Mile Beach, the sunsets are next to none. Of course, we have the wonderful Rick's Cafe, who is also our partners, and when you talk about Negril, you will have to go to watch the sunset, and that is something that is known all around the world. I've been to many places, and nowhere compares to the peace and tranquility that you get from laying on the 7 Mile Beach and watching the sunset. And that is one of the reasons why Negril Footprints is so sought after, because we have our skywalk, one of the only places that has an elevated area that you can watch the sunset. We have our infinity pool that you can just swim out and watch the sun goes out. So even those things we have capitalized on when we were creating this product, just to say.
Going back to the marketing, you had mentioned that most of the persons that you're encountering are multiple repeat visitors. They're older. You've not really encountered a lot of the younger groupings. How can they market Negril to? Because at one point in time, we used to have spring break, and thousands of spring breakers used to come here. What can we do?
So that is an interesting thing. And one of the main things is actually back to that connectivity platform that we were speaking about earlier. The younger generation now, they're no longer calling a travel agent. Well, some of them are, of course, but what they're doing is they're going on to their phone and they're just searching for a place that they can stay. And if you are not on those platforms, you will not be selected. If you're not in the media, if you're not being marketed, because these are people who read, they listen to what's happening, they listen to trends. It's what's popping now that they go by. And if Negril is not being marketed in that sphere, if we're not able to be seen on those different platforms by having that connectivity partner, then we won't be sold. And I think that is one of the reasons why we have not been having a lot more new clients to Negril, despite us being such a beautiful destination.
So, the connectivity partners and the platforms, give me some examples of those that you referred to.
Yeah, so some of them, the simplest one is Vacation Express, and this is a larger tour operator out of the US. You have ALG Vacations, Apple Leisure Group, which has combined quite a few of those platforms as well. And even out of Canada, you have Air Canada Vacations. These are platforms are, for example, let's use Air Canada Vacations. I think this year they are planning to take over 79,000 travelers just to Montego Bay. And is Negril or will Negril benefit from those 79,000 travelers?
Okay, good question.
Clients need to be able to move easily between properties. Yes, we are small properties, but all of us, or if not all, have a restaurant. And yes, we would love for our guests to stay on our property and use our two beautiful restaurants every night. But Negril is the type of destination, especially with boutique properties, that you visit so that you can try other restaurants, you can try the cuisine from different places, you can visit the different entertainment areas. And to be able to do that, you need to be able to move between the properties seamlessly. Yes, of course, you can walk on the beach, but is there a way where you can access from the beach directly to the road? And even if you are on the road, can you walk seamlessly, especially at night, between properties? I don't think so. And one of the reasons is because I don't think there's enough lighting. I don't think that the walkway is on the, well, I don't want to say it's not on the right side of the road. However, if you're walking between properties or you want to walk along the strip and check out what's happening, from what I've seen in other countries, you need to create a space that allows that. And one of those things is maybe even a biking trail or just a trail on one side that's dedicated just for seamless walking that is safe.
How can we work together? How can the gorillas, the hotels, the chamber, how can they work together to ensure that what is needed to get Negril back to its position as one of the top destinations? How can they, what would you recommend?
I think we're in a very ideal position right now because the light is being shed on the areas of opportunity. Negril needs help. Everybody knows Negril needs help. I think it goes down to all of those bodies to be able to work together and go in one direction. Yes, we need help, but saying it alone is not enough. We have to put work in. As mentioned, we need to collaborate as hoteliers, as the chamber, as venues, as restaurants, and find ways to bring more events to Negril. Yes, of course, one event can't do it. There needs to be events maybe every month, maybe twice every month. And this is something actually we have spoken about somewhat, especially with Waves Beach. This is something that Rosa has been championing as well for us to have more events in Negril because one event we can't do it. Dream Weekend alone, isn't it? And as we know, Dream Weekend may not be back to Negril.
It's gone.
It's
It's
gone.
gone.
And even most recently, I think
But the
Reggae
marathon
Marathon
left.
was supposed to be in Negril, and that is also gone. So it's up to us as the people who are in Negril to start pushing the narrative and start creating events, creating things, creating weekends, creating events that will pull people back into
You spoke about um, some of the things which don't really take a lot to execute, like the roundabout, for example. I thought that would have been
completed. It started, I think, over 3 months now, or maybe 2 months. I don't want to be overzealous in my evaluation, but it has been a while. Why isn't it completed? Why isn't that a space that persons can easily go by and even take a picture? It's a beautiful location, and there are some sculptures there that I think has been in for generations, and that should be an area that is highlighted as a part of Negril. Um, there are highlight tours that we can do here in Negril, but what are we highlighting? Just the restaurants. What else is there for us to do? Of course, we have attractions here in Negril. There was one main one on the beach that I won't name that is no longer in operation. What else is there to do in Negril other than going to the beach and visiting restaurants? We have to have things, have activities, have excursions that will allow persons to do to be able to be comfortably in the grill. We have the restaurants, we have the resorts. All we need is the infrastructure and excursions or activities that persons can do.
what are some that Negril could do to pull tourists in?
So out of the regular quote unquote parties, of course there are many weekends where we could do different tournaments. Of course, you spoke briefly about even uh, catering to persons who are into swimming, who are into hiking. We have hills. It's not just the beach. We also have hills in the grill. So there is that portion of things that we could do. There could be wellness events that we do in the grill. There could be events that are geared toward a certain demographic. There's quite a lot that we can do here in the grill. And if all of us as stakeholders here in the grill can come together and create these events and even just push ideas. There has to be a place. I think maybe that's what need to happen. There need to be a place that we can go to lay down these ideas and for a body to help us to drive these ideas and bring them to life.
So talk about footprints now. Give me the rundown about this beautiful property.
Yes, Negril Footprints, the soul of Seven Mile Beach, or newly renovated property. As you know, this property has been on this beach for over 40 years, since 1985, and we reopened in July of this year. We currently have 32 beautiful suites and two restaurants on property, Gatsby's and Blushes Bar and Grill. And what I love about our restaurants is persons from outside can also come and dine at these restaurants. We have two bars on site as well, Finkel's and of course Finkel's, and also one at the Blushes Bar. And one of the additional things that we've added to cater for the local market, and this is something that I want everybody to know. We're not just for persons from overseas. We are for our locals. If you really think about it, Negril is a place not just for persons overseas, and it's never been marketed as just for persons from overseas. It's for persons in Jamaica to come and relax. You come take a weekend and enjoy some time on the beach. You've had a busy week in Kingston, drive down to Negril and relax for a day or two. You can come and enjoy a service at our spa. So there's so much that we have here to offer outside of our 32 boutique rooms, two restaurants, and spa.
Talk to me about the spa.
Yes, so we have a beautiful spa on property, Audrey's Spa as it is called, and you can do from a balancing massage to a deep tissue. We do stone therapy, whatever it may be, we can get that. And persons from off property can come on site to do spa services as well.
Anything else you want to add?
Outside of that, Negril Footprints Hotel is a brand new product, beautiful. Going to say it is the best product on the 7 Mile Beach. We have our elevated skywalk area. It's perfect for small, intimate getaways and for larger groups. So come to Negril Footprints.
And what about weddings?
We actually do the weddings as well. From
Done any
corporate
weddings so far?
groups, we actually have a 160 pounds wedding. It's within 3 weeks, the first week of November, and we're very much looking forward to that. And we have a very simple philosophy that we go by here, or 3S philosophy, and it's very simple, very straightforward. Seen, served, and spoiled. So basically, every guest that walks through our doors, whether you're staying here or you're just coming to dine, must feel seen, they must feel served, and they must feel spoiled. There's a simple story that I tell my team member that my mentor told me when I was a young man coming up in the industry. There was
When
this
you were
guy.
a young man.
Sorry.
When you were a young man.
When I was a younger man, you're coming up in the industry. There was this client staying on property from the UK, and he was staying for a little bit over a week. And every morning he woke up, he would walk by a garden with some flowers and looked at some pink hydrangeas, and then walk down to the beach and have a seat. The second day, a housekeeper saw him do it, and on the third day, when he walked down, he looked at the flowers and then walked down to the beach. When he walked down to the beach on the bench, that housekeeper picked one of those pink hydrangeas and left it on his bench with a note to have a wonderful day. That gentleman left a raving review, said that he has been traveling for all his life, and it was the first time that he actually felt seen. And that is the simple story I tell my team. It doesn't take a lot to let your guest feel seen, served, and spoiled. It's just intention.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us here on Negril Times, where we continue to highlight the voices, visions, and stories that define Jamaica's iconic western coast. As Negril looks toward a brighter, more sustainable future, it's clear that collaboration, creativity, and community spirit will be the keys to its renewal. We'll continue to follow the conversations and developments that shape this world-famous destination, from its pristine beaches to its passionate people. This is Negril Times, where Negril stories come to life. This broadcast is brought to you by WNQS Stores. WNQS Stores, where every journey in Jamaica is crafted for comfort, adventure, and unforgettable experiences. In the heart of Lucy, on Jamaica's west coast, where turquoise waters meet golden sands, lies a treasure unlike any other. Gallery Hofstede, the vision of the legendary Jamaican artist Lloyd Hofstede. Discover a world where color, form, and culture converge, and every piece tells a story of the island's soul. For discerning collectors and art connoisseurs, Gallery Hofstede offers an exclusive collection of original works, paintings, sculptures crafted by one of Jamaica's most celebrated artists. Each masterpiece is a reflection of vision, sophistication, and timeless Jamaican heritage. Experience the allure of fine Jamaican art in a space designed for those who appreciate the extraordinary. Gallery Hofstede, own a piece of Jamaica, elevate your connection.